When you hear the word metaverse, what pops into your head? Probably VR headsets, right? Maybe some kind of futuristic video game. But what if its real purpose isn't about escaping reality at all, but actually about fixing it? That's what we're going to dig into today, how these digital worlds could be the blueprint for a much more sustainable physical one. So yeah, that's the big question on the table. We're going to try and push past all the sci-fi hype and really look at the potential for these digital worlds to help us tackle some massive real-world problems. I'm talking about everything from climate change to how companies are run. And look, this isn't just me throwing out wild ideas. We are basing this entire explainer on a brand new study from 2024 that just cuts right through all that noise. It does this by analyzing what the real experts are saying, the people who are actually on the ground building this stuff. So, what did the researchers do? They dug deep. They did a content analysis of 32, that's right, 32 different expert reports. And these aren't from just anybody. We're talking the heavy hitters of global finance and tech, like Deloitte, JP Morgan, KPMG, the whole shebang. So what that means for you and me is that the insights we're about to get into, they're not just some single person's hot take. This is a real consensus from some of the top minds in the field. Okay, so how in the world does the metaverse connect to sustainability? Well, the study argues that to really get it, we have to take a step back first. We need to look at a pretty fundamental shift in how we think about business. And this is the crucial first step. And that key concept is something called stakeholder capitalism. It's actually a really powerful idea. Think about it. What if a company's main goal wasn't just to make as much profit as possible for its shareholders, but to create long-term value for everybody involved? We're talking employees, customers, the whole community. This mindset, this is the lens the study uses to look at the metaverse's real potential. And this whole philosophy, it's built on 6 core principles. You can see them right here. Think of them like the operating system for this new way of doing business. You've got things like radical cooperation, taking full responsibility for your impact, and constantly engaging with your community. These are the building blocks the researchers use to size up the metaverse. All right, so we've got our philosophical foundation set. Now let's get to the fun stuff, the tech. The study zeroed in on 5 key attributes that define a blockchain-based metaverse. And I'll give you a little spoiler alert. It has almost nothing to do with what kind of VR headset you have strapped to your face. Okay, and this is where the data gets super interesting. When the researchers crunched the numbers from all 32 reports, 3 things just jumped off the page. Just look at this. An interoperable network was mentioned in an incredible 84% of the reports. So this isn't some niche, pie-in-the-sky idea. This is what the experts see as absolutely fundamental. So first on the list, the creator economy. And this is a massive, massive shift. Right now, platforms like YouTube or Instagram, they take a huge cut, and they control pretty much everything. But in a blockchain-based metaverse, creators can actually own their digital assets. We're talking their art, their designs, their virtual land, and they can get paid directly by their audience, by their community. Number 2, and this was the big one, the most cited attribute, the interoperable network. I love this analogy. Imagine if every time you wanted to visit a different country, you needed a brand new passport and a completely different currency. It would be a nightmare, right? Well, that's kind of what the internet is like today. Interoperability is like having a single passport for the entire digital world. It lets you take your identity, your stuff, your assets, and just move seamlessly from one virtual world to another. Okay, next up, we have something that sounds a bit technical, a persistent and synchronous world. But it's actually pretty simple. Persistent just means the world keeps on going. It evolves, even when you're logged off. And synchronous means we can all be in there at the same time in real time. Think of a concert, or a meeting, or a class, happening live with everyone there. It's basically a shared, living, breathing digital reality. Attribute number 4 is a huge one, decentralization. And this is a total game changer. Instead of one single company, like a Meta or a Google, controlling the entire platform, the rules, your data, the power is spread out. It's distributed among all the users and the people building it. It's the difference between a digital kingdom ruled by a king and a digital co-op run by its members. And that brings us to the final attribute, the digitalized mindset. Now, this one isn't really about the tech itself. It's about a shift that happens in our own heads. It's that moment when our virtual identity, our avatar, our reputation online, the things we create, starts to feel just as real, just as important as our physical self. The virtual world stops being just a game and becomes more like a parallel existence. Okay, so we've got this new business philosophy, stakeholder capitalism, and we've got these 5 key tech attributes. Now, for the really crucial part, how do they all fit together? The study proposes that when you combine all these pieces, something really powerful emerges, a whole new model for sustainable management. And listen, this isn't just some abstract theoretical idea. The data backs it up. A solid majority of the experts, we're talking 63%, are already making the connection between the metaverse and the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So what does that tell you? The people actually building these new worlds, they aren't just thinking about the bottom line. They're actively thinking about global impact. So, based on all this analysis, the researchers came up with this really powerful 3-part model for what sustainable management could look like in the metaverse. It's got 3 pillars: physical virtual cooperatives, polycentric governance, and sustainable digitalization. Let's break down what each of those actually means. First up, we have physical virtual co-ops. The easiest way to think about this is merging a real-world organization with a virtual collaboration space. So just picture this. You have scientists, engineers, community leaders, all on different continents, and they're all working together to solve a complex problem inside a shared virtual lab, all in real time. This kind of thing could absolutely turbocharge collaboration, while at the same time you're drastically cutting down on the carbon footprint from all that travel. The second pillar is polycentric governance. Polycentric is just a fancy word that means many centers. So instead of having one CEO at the top calling all the shots, decisions get made collaboratively by lots of different stakeholders. This more democratic structure is the perfect home for new financial tools, like, say, creating transparent, community-owned carbon credits that live on the blockchain. And the final piece of the puzzle is sustainable digitalization. You can think of this as the trust layer. It's all about using the technology to create one single, secure digital identity that you own and you control. And with this identity, you can carry your credentials with you everywhere, including a totally verifiable record of your sustainability efforts, all transparently across the entire metaverse. Let me show you a great comparison of what this actually looks like. Yeah, this lays it out perfectly. Today, on the internet, we use what people call Web 2. Your identity is just scattered all over the place, right? You've got a different login, a different profile for every single site. It's a mess. But in the Web 3 metaverse, thanks to that interoperable network we were just talking about, you get one single digital identity, one that you own, you control, and that creates a real foundation for trust and accountability. Okay, I get it. This all sounds incredibly futuristic, maybe even a little out there. But what are the actual real-world implications here? Why should managers, creators, why should any of us, really, be paying attention to this stuff right now? You know, the authors of this study really hit the nail on the head. They said this isn't just about, adding some cool VR feature to your business. It's about a fundamental redefinition of how organizations can even be structured and run. We're talking about moving toward models that are way more transparent, way more collaborative, and way more adaptable. So, what's the bottom line? What are the big takeaways? Well, for one, the blockchain metaverse isn't just some abstract concept. It offers real concrete tools. Managers can actually use things called DAOs, that's decentralized autonomous organizations, to let their stakeholders vote directly on big company decisions. We can create brand new digital assets that actually incentivize green behavior. But I think the most important thing is this. The technology itself can help foster a culture where shared responsibility is literally built into the code of the system. And all of this leaves us with one last, big, provocative thought to chew on. We tend to see the virtual world and the physical world as two totally separate things. But what if the principles that we're pioneering in these new digital spaces, things like decentralization, true cooperation, shared ownership, what if those are actually the very tools we need to build a better, more sustainable physical world? It's a pretty powerful question, isn't it?